All right, Tara, what do you say?
I think we're ready.
Let's do it. Welcome, everybody. Farming is an interesting topic. It's one of the oldest forms of real estate marketing, and I'm really excited to dive into this. How about you, Tara?
Super excited.
With that said, let's get rocking and rolling. We've got quite a bit to cover today. So I'm going to stop share for a second. This is your time. This is just for you. And this is your opportunity to invest into your business right now, taking in the information we are going to share with you. And I can promise you this, you're going to walk away with at least two things, either be mind blowing, they're going to be business generating, they're going to help you do more, accomplish more. I guarantee it. If we don't accomplish that by the end, then we're in big trouble. Okay. There's so much information we're about to share. And I can promise you, whether you're a brand new farmer, whether you're an experienced farmer, you're going to walk away with some awesome value today. So if you would, let's remove distractions. Okay. Just throw that phone on silent. Dedicate the next 57 minutes to this, and you will be rewarded. But if we're distracted, you're not going to get much from it. Okay. So dedicate your time to this, set an intention to receive this information in a powerful way, and you'll be happy you did. Let's go ahead and jump in. This is part of a 2024 marketing webinar series with myself, Aaron Lacey, and my co-host,
Tara Meyer.
You guys, you can tell we didn't practice that part. This is Redefining Farming. Next month, we've got 7 ways to get listings in 2024. And then the following month, April 23rd, we have craft a lead generating online presence. So you guys stick around. I'm going to make sure that you all get RSVP'd for those upcoming sessions, especially the 7 ways to get listings in 2024. You're not going to want to miss that one. This year is all about listings, especially as we've got an election coming up the second half of this year, which means we need to, as my friend Tom Ferry says, front load this year. And we need to front load it with a lot of marketing. I would say double your marketing activities in the first half of this year, because there's going to be a lot of noise in your buyer and sellers, mailboxes, news feeds, text messaging, voicemails, right? Probably come July 1 would be my guess, is when a lot of the political messaging is really going to hit your farm, your clients. So get yourself known, get yourself recognized, build that brand recognition, build that value proposition before July 1st. Double up on your marketing the first half of this year, because again, we've got an election and there's going to be a lot of distractions come November. So here's what we're going to cover today. We are going to cover an intro to Redefine Farming. And in fact, I'm going to cover the psychology of what are those key elements you need to have in your marketing in order to convert and capture at a high level. And then we're going to cover the 4 steps to a results-driven geographical farm with examples, tons of examples here, you guys. So feel free to take your phone out, take pictures, screenshot. There will be a replay, but if you want to grab this stuff now, by all means, because who knows when that replay is going to show up. Especially if I'm in charge of it. If Tara's in charge of it,
I'll
it'll
take
show up
over.
really quickly. Yeah. So we're going to cover the 4 steps though. Selection, selecting the right farm, marketing. What are the major components of a multi-channel marketing campaign? Execution and planning, and then managing, optimizing. And then we will also share a free farming guide with you. So there's some great things that we're going to cover here. But the first thing I do with every training, every session is check in with yourself right now. Just take 10 seconds. Take a deep breath through your nose, out through your mouth. Check in. Am I operating from a place of abundance, a place of gratitude, where I'm open to this information that's going to be delivered to me, versus a mindset of scarcity, of fixed mindset? Because there's going to be some new things here that you probably haven't tried before. And I want you to be open to receiving and implementing these into your business. So let's cover the types of farming, because there's, believe it or not, there's more than one. In fact, we're going to cover geographic farming today. We know what geographic farming is. That is a geographical area. We're picking a neighborhood. We're picking streets. We're picking a zip code. We're picking a city, a community, a subdivision, and we are going to build name recognition, deliver value to that specific area. There's other types of farms though. You could create a demographic farm. And what's a demographic farm? That's a farm that targets a specific segment of the population based on demographic factors, you guys. So what would some of those be? Age, income, family size, profession, life stage. So for example, retirees, upsizers, downsizers, empty nesters, vets, first responders, teachers, first-time homebuyers, luxury homeowners. Instead of focusing where they're at, demographic farming would focus who people are. So again, maybe veterans, right? And the third type of farming that not a lot of us consider is actually psychographic farming. And that goes even deeper than demographic farming. And that includes hobbies, interests. That gets into people's attitudes on how they identify themselves outside of their demographic and geographic properties. So the values they have, the lifestyles, the beliefs that they have, right? So that's us connecting to people based on personalities, habits, priorities. For example, some people love mid-century modern homes, or they love historic properties, right? That would be a psychographic farm. How about green homes and sustainable living, or active seniors and senior communities? Okay, so really a different type of farming, you guys. So we're going to jump into geographic farming today. That's what today is all about. And what's coming up shortly are some really good takeaways for you guys. So I just wanted to give you a little sneak peek into what we're going to dive into as we continue our session today. So let's start with, why should you geographically farm? Why should we do that? The goal is to become the face of a community, the area expert, a contributor to the community, somebody that's bringing value consistently to an area, that's seen as the go-to, the authority. And I'm going to get into the psychology of what you need to do to cause people to want to work with you, to tell others about you in and around that community. And it's not just sending out postcards. When we think of geographical farming, oftentimes we think of, let's put together a postcard campaign and let's send those out. But farming is much more than postcards. And having met with over 10,000 agents over the last 12, 13 years, what I've come to find out is that farming is the dominant lead source for most productive agents. When I say that, agents that are in the top 10 percentile in their markets, most of their business, especially their listing business, comes from farming. And I know that with farming, there's the opportunity to work with buyers, but we're going to focus on sellers today. So farming, what is farming all about? Farming is a game of timing, just a matter of timing. It's not if, but when somebody is going to need to sell their home. And so what do we need to do to get in front of them at that right time? But it's also a matter of consistency, because if we put together a campaign and get in front of a specific community for 3 months, and then we stop, but on that 4th month, someone decides to sell, we're going to potentially miss out on that opportunity. So let's talk about the principles of psychology in farming, because as a self-declared psychology-driven digital marketing coach for real estate, we have to touch on psychology. And so we know about know, like, and trust. In order to work with us, we need to get somebody to know, like, and trust us. But there's a few other components that are critical as well to get people to work with us in our farm. And that would be competency. And we can tap into the psychology of reciprocity. Let me explain what this looks like. So know and like. What is know and like all about? Know and like creates transparency and connection. It's us sharing what we know and who we are through conversations, on social media, through printed materials. It's infusing our personality into everything that we share publicly. And I'm going to share with you an example of an agent that does this incredibly well. I mean, the first sentence of her bio, you feel like you have a sense of who she is and the role she's going to play in your life. So engaging with your community, letting people get to know you, and infusing your personality into everything you share is a way to fast track the know like combination there with transparency and connection. Second, that would be trust. Trust is built through consistency and behavior. If we think about human behavior in general, we're insecure beings. We're trying to make sense of all this. We're basically a sensory vessel trying to make sense of what's happening around us. And so I am trying to predict your behavior. As a homeowner, I want to know what you're going to be like, and the best of times and the worst of times. I want to try to predict your behavior. The best way to do that would be for me to get to know who you are personally. And then I want to see that you're consistent in your behavior, because consistency is what creates stability and trust. And Tara and I were talking about this last week, that people need repetition in order to remember. So Oftentimes it
Mhm.
takes 7 to 10 repetitions before recognition. And that's the whole concept of consistent postcard mailing, not just doing it for 3 or 6 months, but 7 to 10 times at a minimum to start to build up that name recognition for yourself. And then the third thing is competency, right? Competency is created by showing success. And how do we do that? We do that through social proof, ratings, reviews, right? Google Business Profile, Yelp, Facebook, Zillow, Realtor.com, testimonials, success stories. Okay.
Day in the
Because
life videos.
day in the life videos, humans trust other humans to make the right decision. Somehow we've survived for countless generations, potentially as many as 50,000 generations by trusting each other. Humans are pack animals. We can tap into the psychology of a pack animal, as funny as that sounds, by tapping into the power of social proof. And then the last principle of psychology is reciprocity, and that is achieved through value delivery. Okay, so if you want someone to reciprocate, Robert Cialdini wrote a book on this topic, right? The power of reciprocity. If you give somebody something of value, it's human nature for them to feel like they want to return that value to you. It's a powerful concept. How can we accomplish it? We can accomplish it through sending people items of value, by recognizing and acknowledging them on social media, by gifting people, by doing things for them, by holding events, by inviting them to things. Those are all deemed as being items and activities of value that create a sense of reciprocity in the mind of the recipient. So what I would encourage you to do is, let's not go wide in this strategy, you guys, with our farming efforts. Let's go deep. Let's understand our neighborhood at a deep level. Let's get to know who the people are in the neighborhood. Let's get to know the homes. Let's get to know the community. Let's get to know the history. Let's show these people that we're an expert, because when we do, they're going to find more value in us. And the way that I want you to operate, and again, this is us just setting the stage here. We've got the concept of a hero versus a guide, right? And what I want you to do is, and I know everyone on this webinar today and watching this replay is a hero. There's no question. To be in real estate, I think there's a lot of heroic things that we have to do. But what I want you to do is make your client, make the homeowner feel like they're the hero by making them the center of all of your marketing efforts. And you're the guide. When you do that, they feel empowered. They feel more connected to you. You guys, that's the intro for today. I want to introduce myself and Tara Meyer. I'm one of you. I'm a real estate agent. I've been licensed for 20 years. I have my broker's license. I was a solo agent, a team lead, and I helped run a real estate brokerage of almost 250 agents in 3 offices. And I've since devoted my career to understanding the needs of real estate agents, but specifically how to help them grow their business by leveraging marketing, technology, the right mindsets. I take a psychology-driven approach to business. I know a lot of you that are watching right now, we probably have connected at one point or another. If we haven't, I'd love to connect with you. Let's connect on social media or over Zoom. And Tara, I'll hand it off to you.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tara. I'm also a real estate broker in the state of Arizona. I've been in the business since 2002 in various capacities from title and escrow, but I've also been licensed in Arizona since 2012. Successful individual real estate career, also grew a team and decided to pivot into prop tech, where I helped to sell hundreds, if not thousands, of properties across the Western United States. So a lot of scaling, a lot of process improvement. And I love being here. Marketing has always been my interest in this world. And so I feel really, really blessed to be here today and help you guys navigate this whole farming thing.
This farming world.
Yes.
We are with a company called My Home. My Home is the sister company of WFG National Title. We are marketing technology nerds, if you will. And so this is the
Certified
team.
nerds.
Certified nerds. This is the team. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to break this down into 4 steps to a results-driven geofarm. Tara, rock and roll with step 1, and that is selection.
Yeah. So selection and defining your geo farm. So I think the biggest thing you really need to think about is where you want to plant your flag? Where do you want to really make an impact? And you need to think of a couple of different things as it pertains to what would make a good farm. And that's going to be like, what are the trends? What's the growth potential? Are you located near this particular area? Is it a place that you find interesting, that you want to spend a lot of time in? Because in order to do this right, you're going to need to. But in doing that, I think we need to touch on turnover rate, which right now, the last 12 months has been relatively slow. I think the national average, according to CNN and Realtor.com, is 1%. So it's a little bit lower than it has been in as of recent years. But what we want to look for is we're going to look for something like 6 to 7% in a turnover rate. And that is basically the total number of homes that have transacted in the last 12 months, like what that percentage is. And so we're going to take a look at that. And I think the best way, there's a number of ways that you can do this. You can utilize RPR. They have actually a really great spreadsheet that you can go in. It is very manual, so you do have to identify your area and then enter in kind of the total number of homes and finagle your way through an Excel spreadsheet. But we're not going to do that, because what I've found is that I really like the Fetch app that is provided by one of the title companies, the WFG title company. And it makes it super easy to identify an area that would be, or that has an that would be an ideal farm area based on the turnover rate as well as the total number of homes. And I didn't mention that, but we also want to look for something that has a good number. We're thinking maybe 500, but again, that is going to be relative to whatever it is you can afford and what you want to commit to throughout the year. We'll get into that later. But for right now, I'm going to steal the screen and I'm going to share with you this application and how you can navigate it. Can you see my screen? Yep. All right, good. All right, so this is an application called Fetch, and it's essentially a farming tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to look up statistics and we're going to do an area search. And you can search by state, county, zip or city, as well as zip code. And for right now, I am going to search for Ahwatukee, which is 85044. I just know these, so I'm sure you probably are familiar with the areas that you are considering for your farm. Oop. Ah, okay. I'm just going to go this way. 85048. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually choose the carrier route. And the reason I do this is because it's going to directly relate to the Every Door Direct. And it's also going to categorize it and give you some good chunks of properties to consider. If I go ahead and I search for that carrier route in that specific area, it's going to pull up. So I have all of these different subsections within this neighborhood, if you will, Phoenix. And so you can actually search here by turnover rate or filter by turnover rate. So you have the highest turnover rate towards the top. And again, I said anything above 6%. This is going to be relative to wherever you're at. So I think it's important that you explore a couple of different areas that might be good options. So the next thing I'm going to look at is the total number of homes. And really, this is probably not a bad area because, oops, where did my properties go? Did you see them disappear?
They just disappeared.
They just disappeared.
Yeah.
So I know that these two areas are actually relatively close. So if I wanted to go ahead and select those, and also the other thing I want to, mention is you also want to pay attention to your average price point. So if you have a goal, for example, to increase your gross commission for the year, then you may want to pay attention to this. If it's not as relative to what you want to accomplish for the year, that may not be as big of a data point that you want to pay attention to. The biggest things really are going to be the turnover rate as well as the number of homes that are in there, because you want to be able to also filter those down, get phones and email addresses if that's going to be part of your plan, and you want to have a good number to go with from there. So in order to select those farms, you would just click select here, select check groups, and then you can dive into this even further, where if you wanted to, for example, target out-of-state owners or who might be your next sellers in the area, you could do that as well. So there's a lot of adjustments that you can make to the specific farms that you choose based on the type of marketing and your specific niche. So that is how you choose a farm. And then all you would do is just do get count. And again, if this is something that is of interest to you, there's not as many. So I should probably mention, if you filter this down, then you're going to get less properties. So just keep that in mind. And I know we're doing geographic farming, so should probably just stick to all filters off. And then there's 800 properties total here. So yeah, so that is Fetch, and really the easiest way to find a good farm relative to turnover rate and number of homes. So the next thing that you're going to want to do, get into the demographics and really know who it is you're going to be targeting, what those price points are, the type of the average home or the average age homeowner, whether they're single, all of those different demographic features. And what you can actually use is ChatGPT. And what I would love it if you would do is formulate some kind of prompt that would ask for their challenges, their goals, and their fears. And what you can use this for is, so when you're defining your audience, it's really important that your message matches the types of things that they would find valuable. And when you speak to their challenges, their goals, and their fears, you're connecting with them, you're giving them valuable insights that they're actually going to be able to use. So that's going to be another piece of the choosing your farm. And then as well as make sure that the farm that you're choosing is an accessible one. You don't necessarily want to choose one that's gated. It can be hard to access, especially if you're not a resident. So just keep that in mind. I know that there are people who farm their own gated communities. That's perfectly fine. But just if you're not, keep that in mind. And is it someplace that people want to move to? So all of those things are what you want to keep in mind as you are choosing your area.
Awesome. Let's jump into marketing, which is one of my favorite things, and I know Tara's as well, and I think all of ours. And we're going to talk about the power of multi-channel marketing specifically. And what does that mean? What are the different marketing channels that we should be tapping into and that we can tap into to build our brand, deliver value consistently to our market? So two things. Number one is getting in front of people where they're at in multiple forms triggers the frequency illusion, in which we notice things that are top of mind. So your goal is to get top of mind and stay there. That's what this is all about. We want to get in front of them in as many different ways as we can. And those ways would include print, postcards. We're going to get in that here in a second. Letters, brochures, flyers, post-its, packages, right? Anything that is tangible that can arrive at their home, in their mailbox, or you can leave at their front door, that would be considered print. Digital would be anything online, social media, okay, advertising, YouTube, phone and email. What can we do there? Circle prospecting, email newsletters, and then in person. One of the most valuable ways, and one that I've found the agents that are the most effective at farming, they ensure that they get in person as frequently as possible. I've seen a lot of agents not achieve much success, even though they spend a lot of money on postcards. But one of the reasons is they aren't getting in front of the homeowners in that farm. So let's dive right into print marketing. So print marketing can be broken down into a lot of different forms. Any of these and all these work. You could do a combination. You could do nothing but postcards. We're going to share with you in a moment the cadence or the frequency in which you should put an item of value, something tangible in front of the homeowners. But what I'd say is if you can only send out one postcard a month, make it a market update card. Use something like Altos Research and educate and inform your farm on how their home is performing in the area, what the market conditions look like. I'm going to show you here in a second. There's a post-it strategy. I know an agent that used to get the free FedEx envelopes, those big envelopes, and she would get into gated communities with those. Now, I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying that's how she would do it, with a stack of those as if she was delivering those, which she was. And she would drop those off on people's front doors. And guess what? When you see a FedEx package, usually you're excited to open that. I guess we're a little less excited these days because of Amazon and all the packages we receive nowadays. And then she'd include some valuable information in that. One of my favorite postcard marketing systems is CoreFact, and it's a system they have called CoreFact Elite. And what I like about it is a couple of things. They will personalize the postcard to the recipient. They will include a unique QR code or a unique code in which that homeowner can take that code or scan the QR code on the postcard and get access to whatever it is that you're providing them. And you will get notification that they did that along with their home address So you know who's responding to your postcards digitally, which is a really valuable thing.
Super valuable. Like, how many times do you send out postcards? I don't even know if anybody's even looking at these, and that will give you the answer.
And they have a set it and forget it type system, which is my favorite. It's all automated. Okay. And of course, these are personalized. So the more personalized, the better. Some of these you can personalize with the specific community photos. Imagine if someone looked at a postcard and said, I recognize that photo, or wow, is that my home? And it's got phenomenal lead tracking. And here's some more information about that. $3.99 one-time design fee to customize a 12-month package of postcards to you, and it's a 250 postcard minimum. So I don't know that I'd farm an area unless it's very unique with under 250 pieces. And depending on your budget, we can go above and beyond that. Okay. You guys, let me share with you some unique campaigns that have sent out. Here's some success stories with certain campaigns, with specific postcards that I wanted to spotlight for us. Here's an example of a postcard sent out by Shelly Sakala at the Sakala Group, Phoenix, Arizona. She sent out 1,500 of these. She's at over 50% market share in her farm. She's been farming that area for a number of years. She generated over 50% of her transactions from her farm. The cost for her to mail to her farm and hold events, $3,100. And her ROI, though, which is the most important element, is 11x. So if you look at the piece, she's doing some unique things here. The way that she presented the property, she's utilizing some great features to present this in a beautiful light. Look at the photography is improved. She actually sold it for more, an expired property sold for more. And what I love on the other side of her postcard, she has a QR code. She has some sort of call to action, but that doesn't require somebody to type something into a phone or a computer. It doesn't cause somebody to have to make a phone call. Simply scan a QR code, get access instantly to their home's value. Let's look at some other pieces she sends to that same farm. So outside of the property driven pieces, she's sending pieces that look like this. So she's doing event type scenarios. On the left was an invite to the community center, a fireside for a donut. Show up and get a donut on February 12th from 2 to 4 p.m. She's got events going on. She talks about trash pickup. So just notifying people when that bulk trash schedule is. And then she also provides just fun things. We want to buy you ice cream, neighborhood appreciation, March 20th, 1 to 4. Okay. How much do you think that costs her? What do you think the ROI is for something like that? Let's keep moving forward. Here's another agent named Jason Cassidy in the La Jolla area, sent this postcard out. On the right-hand side is the postcard. So here's the postcard. Looking for a home to buy in this exact area. Actually took a map and drew the borders of the area that he has a client looking in. And this actually secured him a $3.3 million opportunity. This is the Cole team. They sent out this card. What I love about it is the front of it is very social media influenced. It says this Facebook ad helped get this home multiple offers all over ask. And the top right, see how we did it. They actually took a screenshot of a Facebook ad that they ran that helped them secure offers on a previous listing. And on the back, it says to market your home right, you need beautiful professional photos, stunning video tour that engages the audience. But what I really like, you guys, is this third one where it says effective marketing and advertising that finds people where they already are. These first two, that's easy for me as a competing agent to compete against. But the third one, that causes a pattern interrupt in a homeowner. They're going to wonder, what exactly does this team do? Let me move forward. We've got Gretchen Coley, the Coley Group, the front of the postcard. Did you hear what just happened? Turn over for the details. And on the back, in case you haven't heard the news, the Coley Group broke the price per square foot record by selling a specific home for a certain amount of money. To find out how we did that, text me your address and I'll prepare a personalized report just for you. And by the way, here's a conversation or a text message to Gretchen from a service called CallRail, which is a lead generation service connected to this campaign where somebody wants to know what their home is worth. Okay, so some pretty cool stuff there. Guys, let me share with you a letter that Vanessa Riley at Domo Realty sent out. She sent this out to less than 100 people. And she said, guess who helped a neighbor wave goodbye to their home? That's right, it's me, Vanessa Riley, at your service. You know what I love about Vanessa? I'm going to spotlight her for a second. Her personality shines through almost immediately in that first sentence. That's right, it's me, at your service. Humility, but also I can tell that she's fun, right? She's not taking herself too seriously. And then she uses some fun language. Look at the tone that she uses. Here's the scoop you won't find online. The house next door, it was a tough cookie. It didn't sell the first time. The owner got super picky, interviewed a bunch of agents, and then played detective with my past sellers before giving me the green light. So pretty cool. Here's another thing I really like here. The unique campaign highlights. She highlights what she does that's different. A professional YouTube video that racked up over 15,000 local views. So she's not saying, I'm going to create a video for your home. She's saying a professional video that racked up over 15,000 local views on the last one she did. In other words, you can expect something probably similar. How about a 3D floor plan that lets folks explore without moving from their couch? So it's not just we're going to do a Matterport or a 3D. She adds some fun context to it. A social media storm that caught everyone's attention. Not just posting to social media or advertising to social media, but a storm, right? Isn't that kind of cool? I'm visualizing what that looks like.
Love it.
The storytelling, you guys, that's the power of storytelling here. And a Zillow Showcase listing upgrade that had double the eyes on the prize. So then she talks about her results and then her call to action. Wondering what your castle might fetch in today's roller coaster market? Pop me an email or give me a ring. Let's chat. This was sent to less than 100 people and it generated a $1.1 million listing almost immediately. Here's a couple more examples. And I told you I was going to give you a lot of different ideas today. Here's another example. This is from Gretchen Coley, the Coley Group in Raleigh, North Carolina. She actually mailed out this. And by the way, it looks handwritten, doesn't it? Even with a post-it on it. This is through a printed service. There's quite a few different handwritten printing services out there. We might even share a few with you as well. But again, talking about what she accomplished, the results, and that they can help them as well. And here's an interesting picture, you guys. She showed up at a listing appointment and on the table was a copy of that letter that she had sent. And the last one is another example of a similar strategy with that handwritten style letter with a post-it that turned into a $4.4 million listing for this agent. So some incredible ways to think outside of the box, be creative, get people's attention. You guys, we operate in a distracted world. We're inundated with marketing messages every moment of every day. We've got a slot machine in our pocket that's fighting for our attention, making noises, vibrating. So really some incredible ways to just cut through the noise and get people's attention. What I would recommend, and this is through a lot of feedback I've had from agents that have entered a new farm area. So whether you're looking to get started or you have existing farms and maybe you want to create a new one, the frequency in which I would recommend that you enter a new farm area would be every single week with a postcard for the first 12 weeks. And I get that's a lot. That's not going to be cheap, but it's going to be worth it. You want to front load that campaign, get people's attention as quickly as possible, show them how serious you are versus just the occasional postcard, which I don't know about you, Tara. I live in a great area. I don't think I've seen the same real estate agent send a postcard more than maybe twice in the 10 years I've been in this house.
Same.
You?
Yep. Same.
So
Same.
this opportunity absolutely exists. And then what I recommend after the first 12 weeks is 1 to 2 postcards a month. Ideally 2, that would be every other week. It depends on your budget. So the thing is, you guys, in order to stay top of mind, and postcards are going to average anywhere between 50 cents to $1 per postcard.
Sorry, what about EDDM? And if you want to do it more in a more budget friendly sense, then you can absolutely do it that way.
Yeah. And now we're talking what?
18 cents. Yeah. 18 cents for the actual like postage.
Yeah.
Plus whatever the printing cost is.
Yeah. And you can get postcards printed for 20 cents each, 25 cents each, even less. Yeah. You guys, the thing is though, since we're in such a distracted world, once upon a time, it was once every 4 weeks, we needed to get in front of someone to stay top of mind. And then that shrunk to 3 weeks about 10 years ago. Guess where we're at now? It's once every 2 weeks, we need to remind people that we're in real estate. Not that we exist. They remember that part. They just forget that we're the go-to for their real estate, their friends, their neighbors, their families' real estate needs. Human beings have an 8-second attention span, 1 second shorter than a goldfish. We're very distracted. Let's dive into the other form of marketing, part 2, and that's digital marketing. We're going to move through this a little quicker. So we talked about print marketing. Let's get into digital. What is digital marketing? Digital marketing is anything that we get to via the internet. So social media, Google, website. Okay. So social media, we're talking Facebook, your Facebook profile, Facebook advertising, custom audiences, Facebook groups. In fact, I'm going to spotlight a group here next that's creating some really incredible results. But Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Pinterest, Twitter X would even be other locations that you can leverage in your farming strategy. How about Google search, Google business profile, Google local service ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, all different things that you can consider leveraging to expand and increase the effectiveness of your farm. Again, I'm going to get into these in a little more detail here in a second. And then your website. Do you have community pages or community landing pages on your website? If not, you should, especially for your farm areas. I'd recommend community videos on there with you speaking in them, available properties, history about the community, right? As much information as you can provide, resources, things that people can't find elsewhere. Maybe a directory of vendors.
Ooh, that would be a really good lead magnet.
Let's dive into a Facebook group that's really doing well. This group is called Living Chandler. It's run by 2 realtors. It's got over 100,000 members. So what I want you to do, if you have a farm area, a named defined farm area, is there a Facebook group for the farm that you work? If there is, how can you get involved with it? If there's not, how can you create one? You guys, this group right here created over 50 sales in the past 12 months for these 2 realtors. Over 75% of their business, mainly listings, comes from this group. We've got Vanessa at Doma Realty again. I was checking out her Instagram, and I love how they are totally personality driven. Check out what they said in the caption. At Doma Realty, we aren't really into baking cookies or begging for your fake email address. We're all about marketing obsessively. Choosing Doma Realty is like winning the Atlanta real estate jackpot, according to David Couch, who bagged a cool $285,000 over his neighborhood's average, thanks to us. But look at how unique they are. You guys check out their Instagram, Domo Realty. Look at the way they position themselves. I'm going to share with you a YouTube video that they've created that is just so unique, and it presents them and positions them in such a unique light. It is a pattern interrupter. It is a differentiator. Okay, so how can we leverage social media to bring value to our farm and create differentiation? One of the other ways we can do that is through custom audiences. If you're not familiar with Facebook's custom audiences, this is the ability for you to take a spreadsheet, drop that into the back end of Facebook, and get in the news feeds of people in that spreadsheet that you have at least a phone number or an email address for. And don't worry, there's ways to get phone numbers and email addresses for a large percentage of your contacts, your farm area that you don't already have contact information for. So what you do is you go to facebook.com/ads manager/audiences to get access to that. Search in Google if you need to level up in this area. Search for Facebook custom audiences. There's a lot of resources around this. But in essence, what you'll do is you'd simply go to this link, click on create a custom audience, and then select customer list and upload your list. And it can be a list of your contacts, a list of your farm. It could be from a CRM. It could be from Fetch or another data platform that you're using. But what a great way to get into the news feeds of your farm by leveraging lists. All right, let's keep moving forward. Let's jump into YouTube here for a second, living in Palo Alto. Tara, what do you think about this agent in Palo Alto and her YouTube channel?
She's killing it with her YouTube strategy. Like it has been a little bit of it's taken her time to get traction, but she's seeing a return on her investment. And she has this really unique, colorful, contrarian approach to her videos, which gets people to watch them. And so she's really seen as the kind of expert in all things Palo Alto right now.
Yeah. And if you'll notice, look at the topics. Living in Redwood City. She's being very hyper local. In fact, you could even be so local as to talk about living, buying in a specific community. But you'll notice she's talking about areas, 7 best neighborhoods to live, living in Palo Alto. I love the contrarian here. You mentioned it. 6 reasons you'll hate living in Palo Alto. Okay. So, best 6 neighborhoods, right? So, she's very community focused, very hyper local with her content. And look at the views. 33,000, 20,000, 18,000. There's no question these are creating opportunities for her. We're going to go back to Vanessa at Domo Realty. If we had time, I was going to play this video. We don't have time. Check out her YouTube channel and click on her most recent video from 4 months ago, which by the way has 222,000 views. My guess though is that she's advertising this. She links to this video with a QR code and all of her farming materials that she sends out. She is directing as much traffic as she can here. It's featured on YouTube. It's advertised on social media and YouTube to her targeted area. She's building name recognition, brand recognition, and she's doing it by showing people how fun her personality is and just who she is. It's pinned to the top of her Facebook page. It's probably in her email signature. I don't know. She hasn't sent me anything, but check this out though, you guys. Really neat video. Let's keep moving forward. Google. Do we have a Google business profile? Have we added the service area in which we're farming? Are we creating content and adding it to our Google business profile for the farm area that we're in, which could cause us to show up when someone searches for best realtor in XYZ community? This is a big business generator for a lot of agents. The other way to take advantage of your Google business profile is to use what are called local service ads. It's going to allow you to place at the top of Google when people search for things like top realtor in your local market. Okay, so really incredible opportunity to leverage your Google business profile to show up at the top of Google search results. And we know based on NAR telling us that around 60% of homeowners sell their home using the agent that helped them purchase or by getting a referral from a friend or family member. That leaves another 40% of homeowners wondering where they're going to find their real estate agent. What are they doing? They're searching on Google using keywords like this. Let's dive into quickly phone and email marketing. And again, I'm going to start moving pretty quickly through this. With phone and email, really, we've got circle prospecting and email newsletter. And what I would say is, if you can try to get people to opt in to an email newsletter, I'm going to quickly just share what Vanessa at Domo does. She has her link tree connected to all her social media. And one of the options there is to get subscribed to her Constant Contact or MailChimp email newsletter. Make me a Domo VIP, be the first to know about all our cool listings. So she's doing some pretty cool stuff. You want to build your opt-in list, you guys. Build that email list. Email is still powerful. And then the last channel of marketing we're going to talk about is in person. That consists of open houses. And frankly, in person is about getting as much face time as you can into an area. When you set up an open house, you guys, I would be working from an open house if possible, but 2 open houses a week if you can, especially during peak season, as many directionals as you can set up. I've got agents that succeed with open houses that are putting out 25 plus directionals, balloons, signage, yard sign. They're doing posters, billboards, they're door knocking. They're inviting the neighbors to an exclusive neighbor only open house before they even open it up to the public. What else? Neighborhood events, workshops, block parties, other fun and useful activities, spring clean, 4th of July handout flags, Santa events, picnics, movie nights. Partner with other local businesses. There's a lot of collaboration you can do there. And then I would say volunteer locally as well. Get your face seen in the community because again, people want to work with people that are consistent and are adding value to the community. The last thing I want to spotlight, Jason Ferris in Fresno, California with Fres Yes Realty, who when he first started did a small get together in the park and he was consistent with it. And that turned into a full-on festival where they shut down downtown Fresno and have an absolute blast. And he is the organizer of that. All right, you guys, let's jump into execution.
Yeah. And really quickly, June Jordan has a question. Is there somebody that they can hire to get all this stuff in place? I
Yes,
think, yeah,
there is.
there's always somebody you can hire.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's finding the right person. And I can tell you that virtual assistants can be helpful. They're not gonna be able to do all this stuff. Like they can't stuff envelopes. You know what I mean? They can't do the hands-on stuff.
They can't
Uh,
shake hands and kiss babies.
you guys, if it was easy to find somebody to help with this stuff that was skilled, I'd have a full list for you. But unfortunately, I don't, because anybody good that really is consistent, is reliable, they're snatched up and they're tucked away. What I would recommend though is you could tap into colleges, universities. You can go to Instagram. You can look at job boards. People are looking for these opportunities. There are marketing folks that are looking for these opportunities. Seek those out.
But I want to just piggyback on that. And I think that really the thing here with this, I know it can be very overwhelming, but it really boils down to just starting small, picking something that you know that you can handle for the next 12 months. And that could be one thing that you do annually, one or two things you do quarterly, or one thing you do quarterly. And it's one thing you do every month, one thing that you do every day. And we're going to dive into this. And I wanted to share with you too a couple of things that you need to do in order to get started is actually do a little bit of this kind of soul searching, if you will, and determining what your short-term and your long-term goals are. And that will help lead you to like how intense of a geofarming campaign you actually need to execute on. And it may be very small to start, just like Jason Ferris, and you'd be surprised. Give yourself room to grow. That's my biggest, probably, piece of advice. And also, Aaron and I can also help put some of these processes in place, especially as it pertains to all of the digital marketing with the Google businesses and ads, and even helping you outline a strategy. But for right now, I wanted to quickly get into there is a QR code here for a geo farming guidebook that is through Breakthrough Broker. And it does have, I don't think we have enough time to actually go through it, but there are a ton of examples in there of things that you can pick and choose from to put together your own strategy, as well as find what works for you. Because there's going to be some things you may have to start out, and everything that you do will be stuff that would be considered sweat equity. So maybe you're doing door drops and you're just holding open houses. And maybe next year you're going on and adding in the mailing piece. So start small with what you can implement today and commit to for the next 12 months. So here are some examples of what that might look like. So again, you're going to be picking one thing that you can do on an annual basis. If that is an appreciation party or a block party that you just basically invite everybody to and have everybody, you don't even really have to add all of your own costs other than just like the effort that it takes you to get people there. And quarterly, you could put on seller seminars. There could be some digital ads and social strategy going into that, which wouldn't cost anything as well. If you have the funds, you can apply those and start implementing like the postcards monthly, or doing a blitz, like Aaron had mentioned, with the 12 postcards, one every week for the first 12 weeks. For the average person, that may not be feasible, but maybe you can do one postcard and EDDM drop every month. And maybe you can run one digital ad every month, and maybe it's a $5 a day budget, for example. And then weekly, you're actually handwriting letters to some of those hot movers that we didn't really get into it, but we do have some predictive analytics that will tell you the most likely people to move in the next 1 to 2 years. So there are ways to implement a smaller strategy that does not require as much check equity, if you will. So these are some examples. If you have questions on this, please reach out. Like Aaron and I are both here to help you craft something that will fit your specific situation. That's one of the things that I think separates us from a lot of others, is that we do this customization, this holistic approach to your marketing. So keep this in mind. Make sure that you download that. We'll also send out the link with the replays that has the Breakthrough Broker guide on it, so that you have that to go off of as well.
As Tara said, this can be overwhelming. My challenge for you is identify 2 things that you can move forward with that we've shared today. Okay. Doesn't need to be everything. I don't know anybody that's doing everything. So I just shared with you the magnitude of what's possible so that you can pick and choose a la carte what you want to implement. The last step in this would be managing, and that's just you ensuring that you're consistent with not just the delivery, but with everything that you're doing, you guys. The consistency is the most important part. If it's just the postcards, be consistent with the postcards, then sprinkle additional efforts into that. In closing, this is an interesting quote that I came across actually just today by Alex Smith, where he said, "We have to remember that the strategy itself is nothing. It's just words on a paper. What actually counts is the action that the strategy provokes. And therefore, the first way we must judge a strategy is like that. Does it make you act?" This was a useless hour for you unless you take action. A couple of things you can take action on right now. If you want to RSVP for our next webinar, you can scan that QR code on the left. 7 ways to get listings in 2024. Go to bit.ly/Team Aaron webinars. And then if you want to connect, if you want to move forward with any of these things that we discussed today, you want to get access to Fetch, we'll line you up with the right resources by scanning the QR code. Let's connect, and we'll make sure you get taken care of. And then if you are part of a brokerage, a team, an association, whatever the case might be, and you'd like for us to speak at your event, your group event, put together a training, a workshop, we're happy to do that for you. This is a partial list of some of the topics that we cover. And last but not least, if you found value in this session, thank the person that invited you and thank yourself for sticking through this, you guys. We've got quite a few that were on this webinar today, and nice work, you guys. We made it through, and we will see you all next month for our next webinar or maybe sooner. Take care, everybody.